Good Sunday afternoon. It is November the 5th, 2017. Welcome to this week's weekly weather briefing where I'm going to be starting out the video with severe thunderstorms that are off to our northwest right now, moving through the St. Louis area, the greater St. Louis area just now about spared. We do have some incoming storms from the southeast that is about to impact at least the southern suburbs of that greater St. Louis city, but as we move throughout the next half hour, those storms will be long gone from there. The cold front just situated to the northwest of St. Louis, and it is moving southeast at a very fast rate, so that means that these storms are moving very fast also as they ride just ahead of it. This is almost opposite of what we saw with our cold front that came through around this time last week. We saw a Anna front where the cold overrided the rain, and we saw most of the precipitation behind the front. With most cold fronts, like we see right here, the rain is ahead of it inside the warm and moist air, which is all feeding into these severe thunderstorms. So we'll take a look at what our area has in store for that. And we do actually have some pretty good chances of some severe weather going into the overnight hours, mostly between around 9 o'clock and 1 a.m. tonight is when western Kentucky seems to be looking at their greatest chance of severe weather. So this is our severe weather parameters right now. Most of us are all in the severe weather zones that include such things as CAPE values. Even though we didn't have a lot of sunshine today, we still have sufficient CAPE numbers to support severe weather for today in this time of the year. We have plenty of shear because we have plenty of wind, not only at the high tops of the atmosphere, but here at the surface as well. And we also have some effective helicity as well that is also feeding into this. We have a lot of other ingredients, guys, but these are the main six that I'm looking at right now, and all are falling into these red cones, which indicate that they are all in sufficient territory to meet severe weather needs for tornadoes. For more straight line winds, we're still looking at them all inside the zone. This one just barely before it, but these are all increasing as of the recording. These severe weather parameters are increasing, so these numbers will continue to rise, and we will continue to see an increasing threat of severe weather going into the overnight hours. So here is what the HRRR model thinks that this is going to look like. So we see this is around 9 o'clock this evening, and we see a very strong line of possibly severe thunderstorms at that time moving through southern Illinois, southeast Missouri, and we do see some embedded supercells in there as well, some little kinks coming out in front of it, so we could be looking at not only a damaging wind threat with this, guys, but a tornado threat as well. And we also see some little spotty showers ahead of it. Now, some of the models are indicating that we see supercells just ahead of this entire cold front. And if this were to happen, this could actually enhance the tornado threat but weaken the damaging wind threat. Sometimes we get too much action right ahead of the main band of showers and thunderstorms. And when they get embedded in front of that band, they start to disrupt the damaging wind event and start to just mainly become either a tornado threat or just a lot of heavy rain and some gusty winds, but not necessarily damaging and severe weather requirement level winds as they were before. So anytime we see storms form ahead of it, they kind of disrupt the atmosphere. They take away a lot of the energy that feeds into the main band, and therefore we end up seeing a weakening line of showers and thunderstorms, which I think is going to be happening once it reaches the Ohio and Mississippi confluence. I think that it is going to be affecting the western Kentucky region with less of a threat as opposed to portions of southern Illinois, southeast Missouri. This band will be weakening, which is good news, but by the time it still gets here, it is still going to be strong. So this is our rainfall totals for this event, and you can tell most of us on average around a quarter of an inch of rain, but there are pockets that reach up to about an inch, depending on some of those storms that form ahead of it and also the main band itself. So here we are with this week's weekly weather briefing. We got past the severe weather threat for today. Let's go ahead and see what else we have coming for the week. So this is a look at Tuesday morning, late Monday night. We have another round of rain coming into the area. No severe weather, just rain, some casual raindrops just to be looking forward to. So still our wet pattern, this above average precipitation pattern continuing like we predicted for the month of November. And we get to around Thursday, early Thursday morning, late Wednesday evening, we have a system going to our south. I'm watching it very closely. At all regards, it is at least going to spread clouds to our region, but we might see some raindrops come in there as well. Just keep an eye on that. Really, around Wednesday and Thursday, there is a small chance for some showers, mostly because of the southern system, but no cold air to work with, so if any raindrops happen to come up in here or any precipitation, it would fall as liquid and not anything in the form of sleet, snow, or even freezing rain. We see a very cold air mass coming in for the upcoming weekend, but it does look like it's going to bypass our region and mostly affect the Northeast and the New England states, and most of our region is going to be spared from this Arctic outbreak. We are going to be looking at rather above normal temperatures for the upcoming weekend. And then next Sunday, we see another system approaching our area, possibly another cold front, possibly another opportunity for some severe weather. So another system to monitor for this time next week. We see a lot of ridging taking place for the beginning of this week. We see that undercutting system that I talked about for the middle of the week, causing some slightly lower heights in portions of the southeast, but we quickly return to those above normal heights, as you can tell here. Back to the ridging pattern, the above average temperature pattern that I've been promoting for the month of November. We're getting right back to it by the time we get towards the upcoming weekend. Unfortunately, it's falling in the same weekend. That opening weekend for many deer hunters are going to be occurring in western Kentucky. So, as most hunters want, they want the cold weather to make the deer move more, and it does look like this is going to be what the deer hunters do not want. Temperatures on all models are still pretty variable on whether we see a freeze, whether we see a frost, or whether we see temperatures in the 40s or 50s for morning lows on Saturday morning, late Friday night. And then temperatures in the afternoon on all models are mostly in the upper 50s to lower 60s, which is about average for this time of the year. But it doesn't look like we're going to be looking at near as cold of a opening weekend as we saw last year's deer season. Here is a look at the temperatures over the next 16 days. I would really like to just cut it off around Sunday. Don't look forward to any of this because the models are everywhere going into the 11th, or really the second week. The second week of November pattern is really up in the air right now, so we're kind of going to push this to the side. This is leaning cold, but I'm kind of leaning warm right now, so we'll just have to wait and see how this pans out. But right now, the temperatures are looking to be, at least over the next week, cooling dramatically into the upper 50s for high temperatures on Tuesday, maybe even lower. Some models indicating clouds, which would keep us in the lower half of the 50s. And then we still remain in the 50s for the rest of the week. So we are going to be dipping below average for somewhat this week, but still overall an above normal temperature regime pattern still going to be in our region. Rainfall over the next week, this is counting the rain coming tonight, the rain coming on Tuesday morning, late Monday night, and then that other system coming in around the middle of the week that could spread some light rain towards our region. Right now, we think it's going to stay south, but just in case a couple of raindrops come in, it is going to be there. We also have another threat next weekend around this time for some more rain. So counting all four events, we are looking at temperatures, or rather precipitation, to top off around an inch or less. Depending on where you live, thunderstorms tonight some areas could actually top 1 inch just from tonight's rainfall, let alone added in for the rest of the week. So that is this week's weekly weather briefing. Hopefully you have your weather radios on. The time on your clocks are set back an hour because we did set back our time last night. So everything should be set. Make sure that we always try to remind people to replace those weather radio batteries because we are looking at severe weather tonight, and it kind of falls just in time when people are supposed to be replacing those batteries. So that it can't really work out any more perfect for the timing. So this really reminder to replace those batteries is falling right in place with the severe weather event coming in tonight. Like I said earlier, mostly damaging winds, and I did not mention we could have some large hail with some of those storms, some of those supercells that form ahead of it could definitely produce some large hail, but really not looking at any hail to be along that main band of showers and thunderstorms, that linear action going on. But for the majority of the night, we're just looking at damaging winds, maybe an isolated tornado, and then mostly heavy rain and lightning going to be a big factor and a big play into this as well.